Today I will be setting up the Eheim Professional 4+600 canister filter. This is a filter that I strongly recommend. I have 8 of these filters in the fish room. Today I'll go through exactly what you get in the box and how to set it up correctly on this new 200 litre aquarium. Okay, so straight out the box you'll find your warranty and your instruction manual at the top of the canister filter. Down the side you will find a bag of bits which I've already been through to make sure that everything's there. You get a intake pipe, 3 meters of Eheim's black tubing, and the spray bar. The canister filter is always in a plastic bag, which we can just lift straight out. And there it is. So let's just go through this bag of bits and just check that you've got everything there before you start installing the filter onto your aquarium. So in a cardboard sleeve you will find 4 of Eheim's suction cups. You will find the inlet cage, 2 clips which might not make a lot of sense at this point in time, but we'll come back to those. You will find 4 of these clips which go into your suction cups and your outlet tube. You will also find a cap for the end of the spray bar and 4 self-adhesive rubber feet. So let's have a look inside the canister filter itself. So there's 4 clips which secures the head to the top of the canister, 1 at the front, 1 at the back and 1 either side. Just lift these off and unclip and you'll find that the head of the filter just lifts right off. With the head of the canister filter removed, we can see the first tray. This first tray is actually a pre-filter, and inside is sat a blue sponge foam, which is a coarse sponge, and this is your first level of mechanical filtration. The pre-filter is there to catch any large parts of detritus before it enters the rest of the canister filter. The water enters via that hole there, is washed and filtered through this blue sponge before making its way down that tube in the corner to the bottom of the filter, where it is then pulled up through each of the trays situated underneath. Lift this first tray out by the handles on the side and you will find the second tray, second from the top. In here you will find a fine filter floss and a bag of Eheim's Substrat Pro. Substrat Pro is a stinted glass media, and that's your biological media where the microorganisms responsible for the biological filtration predominantly live. In the third tray down you'll find another tray which has Eheim's Biomech. Biomech is again a stinted glass media, and it's part biological, part mechanical filtration there. Below that tray is a tray filled with Eheim's Mech Pro, which is a plastic media, and this is a new form of mechanical media. The idea behind this media is that the water passes through and any particles in it get smashed up into little tiny pieces as it makes its way through all of those tubes. The last tray is again filled with Eheim's Mech Pro. While the canister filter is empty, we're going to tip it upside down, making sure not to damage any of the clips. We're going to take those self-adhesive rubber feet and we're going to stick them inside of these recesses here in each corner of the bottom of the canister. These will reduce the vibrations into your aquarium cabinet and will subsequently reduce the very little noise which is generated by this filter anyway. So we're going to stick those into each corner on the bottom of the canister, like so. And then take that and spin it back the right way around. While these trays are out, let's just discuss how the water passes through them. So this is the bottom tray filled with Eheim's Mech Pro. A second tray above that filled again with Eheim Mech Pro. A third tray with Eheim's Biomech. And a fourth tray with Eheim's Substrat Pro. On top sits your pre-filter, and all these baskets sit nicely together, nice and tight, inside the canister filter itself. So the water enters this hole, is filtered through the blue sponge and makes its way down this tube, which is built into the side of each of these baskets. After reaching the bottom, the water is then pulled through the middle of each of these trays before getting to this top compartment inside the pre-filter. The water is pulled through this door, and inside this teardrop shape is a thin rubber bead. This teardrop shape marries up to the teardrop shape on the bottom of the head of the filter. That sits above there, nice and tight, to create a waterproof seal. This stops the dirty water which has just entered the filter being mixed with the clean water which is being returned to the aquarium. Before putting the filter back together, remove the Biomech and the Substrat Pro from their protective bags, empty them into the baskets and give them a quick rinse with clean water. After that's been done, replace the foam or the filter floss, reinstall the cage, and now the baskets are ready to go back inside the filter. So we start with the first tray of Mech Pro, the second tray of Mech Pro, the third tray of Biomech, the fourth tray of your Substrat Pro and floss, finished with the pre-filter. They should all fit together nice and snugly without forcing them. And finally, we want to reinstall the head to the top of the canister filter, which should fit snugly, to be then clipped down, and the basket installation is complete. Place the canister filter exactly where you intend to keep it, whether it be in your aquarium cabinet or, in this case, underneath a rack. After you have placed your canister filter where you want to take one end of the black pipe and your outlet elbow. Now, you need to attach the elbow to the black pipe by pressing it in like that, and giving it a slight wiggle. I would recommend getting it at least 20 mil over the elbow, like so. Now sometimes it doesn't press in that easy. You can use a heat gun like this, but turned quite the way down, a hairdryer, or heat it over a kettle just to soften the material so you can slide these in much easier. The next step is to hook this elbow, which you have attached to the pipe, onto the back of the aquarium on the side which you want it. Now I want it on this side, so I need to hook it onto this side. Now you can do this by two ways. You can drop the pipe down the back of the aquarium where it will reach the canister, or if that's not possible, maybe you have to feed it through a small hole, then you can do it from below and feed up as well. In this case I can drop it right down the back. Once this pipe, which goes up to the elbow at the top of the aquarium, is fed down to the canister filter, you'll need to measure it against the output of the canister filter, which is on the top here, this top pipe, on the left hand side. Now you want to leave a little bit of slack, but not a lot. You would take a sharp knife and cut the pipe like so. You can also use scissors if you have a sharp enough pair. I've always found that a utility knife such as this, with a reasonably new blade, cuts through it very easily. Now you want to take that heat gun or hairdryer, or however you heated it up before again, and just soften the material once more. And you now want to attach that to the output of the canister filter, like so. You need to cut this pipe long enough so it can slide over this tube on this side and touch this ridge here. You also want to cut it just long enough so you have a little bit of slack on the pipe. You don't want that too tight, or it will hinder maintenance in the future. The next step is to take this pipe and this basket, which was in the bag of bits at the beginning of the video. It is in two parts. You need to separate the two parts like this and then reinstall them like so. Attach it to the bottom of the long end of the pipe and gently press to make sure it's a firm fit. You now need to hang this tube with the cage into the aquarium like so to measure the length. Now I've just set up 3 of these aquariums, and I know this pipe is about 20 millimeters too long because the cage is touching my substrate at the bottom, which I don't want. I want it just raised a little bit off the substrate. After knowing how much I need to reduce the length of this pipe, I can take the basket off and put the pipe into a pipe cutter like so. And I'm just going to remove about 20 millimeters. It doesn't have to be exact. I'll remove any excess from the pipe and reinstall the cage back onto the end of the pipe. I've now attached one end of the black hose to the end of the suction pipe using the same method as before. I'm now going to take the suction cups from the bag of bits at the beginning of the video and start separating them like so. And then I'm going to remove the suction cups from their cardboard housing. I'm now going to take the clips and install them into the suction cups like so. Same as before, I'm going to feed the tube down the back of the aquarium and hang the suction pipe over the back of the aquarium like so. I'm now going to take the assembled suction cups and attach them to the suction pipe and stick them to the back of the aquarium. Same as before, I'm going to take the pipe for the filter's intake and measure up to the pipe on the top of the filter. Now this pipe can afford to be a little bit longer. You want to create a strong siphon with lots of flow on the way to the canister. But again, you don't want this pipe too long, and you definitely want some slack. Same as before, we're going to heat one end of the pipe to make it easier to attach to the filter's intake. We're now going to take these two clips which come together to form a clamp, and this needs to be installed at the base of the pipes at the top of the valve block. To install these, ensure that the flow switch is turned all the way down, press the red button at the front of the canister filter and lift the valve block from the housing. Place one behind and hold with your finger, and take the other side and lock them over one another like that. You will hear a slight click when they lock into place. Just gently manoeuvre this clamp up to the top of the barbed pipes on the top of the valve block, and then replace the valve block into the head of the filter. We're now going to take the spray bar and the spray bar cap, which was in that bag of bits at the beginning of the video. Now on one end of the spray bar, the hole is very close to the end, and on the other, it's about an inch away from the end of the pipe. We're going to put the cap on the short side of the spray bar. Now that it needs pushing in quite firmly. It's important to have at least an inch of your black tubing left over. I've got about 2 feet of it, so I've cut an inch off. I'm going to heat this up with the heat gun and install it onto the end of the spray bar like so. I have now installed about an inch worth of pipe onto the end of the spray bar, and after heating it up, I'm going to attach it to the outlet of the filter. Same method as before, just a little bit of force and a bit of a wiggle. Using the 2 remaining suction cups and clips, I'm going to secure the spray bar onto the side of the aquarium, level with the line of the water. The canister filter is almost done and ready to go. However, there's one last step we need to do before we can actually switch the unit on, and that's establish a siphon on the intake of the filter. Now this is a brand new tank with a brand new filter, so there's no risk of getting any fish waste or anything like that in my mouth by using this method. It's an old school method, but it's one that works. Turn the flow all the way down, press the red button to remove the valve block, and whilst holding the flow switch in the on position, you're going to be ready to close it very quickly. You're going to gently suck on this pipe, like so. Turn the flow up, and you can hear the canister filling. Leave it for 5 minutes, and then switch it on. After dechlorinating the water and waiting for 5 minutes, I've turned the filter on, and pretty soon that brand new tank is going to be crystal clear. I hope this video helps you set up your Eheim Pro4 600. And if you'd like to see more of me in the future, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and remember, always cycle your filters properly before adding fish. I'll see you next time.